Hi everyone, we're back and we wanted to give an update so far on our experience of medical school. Anyway, he's had a couple months off and we've just been trying to relax and enjoy each other, but we've been getting questions about medical school, so we wanted to answer and let people know how it's been.
My turn?
Yeah.
I hate it. No, it was amazing, to be honest. It was a great experience now that I'm looking back on it. Challenging. Everything that I thought it would be, it was worse. It was harder than I thought it would be compared to undergrad, but it was fun. It was definitely fun doing something you love and studying stuff you're excited about, and that was fun. I don't have any complaints as far as medical school, but the reason that I kind of making this video is because before medical school I didn't know what to expect, and I had a lot of questions. I had to look up a lot of things, and I really didn't know where to find that information.
Well, first, what would you say about being a married couple and doing school apart?
Going into it, I thought we could handle the time apart, and it would be difficult, but it was, we could get through it, and we did get through it, but it was a lot harder than I expected. I thought it would be harder on her side, being away from me, because I thought I was amazing, but it was so difficult for me. It was, just doing the everyday stuff.
I think all I'd input on that part is if you don't have to do it, don't do it. If you have to do the schooling apart, then you can make it work. But if there's some way that you can go through it together, that's what I'd recommend, because it is a lot harder on both sides. Okay, so the next thing about living there, let's kind of talk about what you packed. What's something you're happy you took with you?
I'm glad I took a pair of sweats with me. I wish I would have took more sweats, because the dorms can get cold. I like it freezing, and the dorms can get really cold.
We should have pictures of the dorms, so I'll include them now. What dorm did you get?
I lived in St. Andrew's Hall, which is, when you'll see, it's across from the soccer field. It's a dual, you share a room with another guy, and it was tiny. It was really small, and we were right next to each other. I lucked out. My roommate was cool, so we got along well, but he had a difficult time because our dorm was right next to the washer and dryer, and the washer and dryer times were from 6 at night to 6 in the morning. So people would do their laundry sometimes at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. So he ended up moving out and going into a different dorm.
What's something you took with you that you didn't end up needing?
Ice tray things. They have an ice tray already for you. But
one question we got was about our adapter.
Oh, I didn't end up. I didn't end up using that. I didn't use the adapter at all. They have either, whether you're from, you use the 110 or the 220, wherever you're from. They have both there. And I didn't use the adapter at all.
When I understand what you would actually need if you do need it is a transformer, which are heavier and more expensive.
Yeah.
So I would wait till you get there and see what you need, and then just buy whatever you need.
Yeah, the school will let you know what you need, exactly you need.
But if you're on campus, you probably won't.
Need it. No.
Yeah, you probably won't run into any problems. What's something you wish you would have taken with you?
More batteries. They do sell batteries there, but it's kind of inconvenient to go to the store all the time and try to get that stuff. So take batteries as much as you can. For me, it was scary with my computer, so I don't know what type of computer you guys are going to have. If there's any type of backup thing you're going to need to bring with it, if you can bring an extra charger, that would be great.
He did end up cooking more than he thought.
That's the one thing that I wish that I would have brought was pots and pans. Definitely pots and pans, because
and a better knife,
knives. His knife broke. Knives, and a cutting board. I always use my roommates, he lived across the hall's cutting board, and I always use his can opener. So can opener, I wish I brought. You realize that time is at a minimum. When you're there, you want to study all the time, especially when you first get there. You're pretty motivated, and you're like, okay, I gotta get this done. Then I started to buy food on campus, and there's a Subway, New York Bagel, and a couple other barbecue places. So it wasn't the best of tasting food, especially being there for 4 months and then eating only what was available on campus. It got boring. It got really boring, and I just didn't want to eat another roti or tuna sandwich or barbecue sandwich or whatever they had. Especially, the pizza was horrible. I'm sorry if anybody likes the pizza at SGU, but it was horrible. The pizza on campus was horrible there, so definitely don't get the pizza. Yeah, so, and then it's not cheap. It's okay, but it's not the cheapest thing.
So maybe include like what your view is of the school now that you're actually attending it, and how you studied, anything school related.
The school itself teaches you very much like the questions are very much like you're going to see on your step ones. If they give you resources at the school to help you with your classes, they have the study groups that'll help you with the classes, and you can take it's Monday through Sunday, and you could sign up online, and it's small groups, so I think the amount of people signing up is maxed out at 15. I myself, I definitely made sure the AP one was biochemistry, so that was really good. The girls who led it was really good. Give us some material, practice quizzes, practice tests that we could take. Basically, a lot of it too, other than just going over the material that we learned that week, we talked about how the tests were. Like, how did you prepare for the test, or how did you feel that the test was? And they were saying, hey, don't be scared. This test isn't as bad as midterm, or the test is a little bit worse than midterm, so make sure you're more prepared than what you were for midterm. Spend more time on this than histology. Histology wasn't as difficult as biochemistry, or anatomy had a lot of high yield of cranial nerves, so spend a lot of time on that. So their information apart just from the material was, invaluable as far as that goes. If you're coming to this school, if you're going to a Caribbean school, I'm sure you're going for a second chance, or you just want the opportunity to be a doctor, and you're learning everything you need to learn to be a doctor and to do well on your steps. It's going to prepare you. You'll learn everything you need to learn. You'll have the adequate time in order to learn it. I'll just talk about medical school in general, because I think that was what I was most scared about, because I didn't know what to expect. I remember taking an MCATs class, and them coming in, or medical students coming in and saying, hey, the MCATs was nothing compared to what you're going to learn in medical school. And it's 100% true. I learned more material in my first term than I probably did my whole undergrad. It's not that the material is hard, it's that it's really accelerated. We're learning a chapter a day, probably. With 3 classes, 3 chapters a day. And you have to get through it, learn it, and move on to the next thing, and you can't fall behind, because if you fall behind, then you're definitely going to have trouble catching up, because there's so much material that's going to compound on itself. I looked up a lot of other medical students, what they were doing. There's a program called Anki, ANKI, which is a flashcard program that I used for a little bit. A lot of people study through visual, so like Picmonic would be another thing that people used. Was it Firecracker? Is another program that people would use. My friend, all he would do was just read the PowerPoints and ace all the tests. So, everybody's different. Everybody learns different. Everybody studies different. For myself, I realized that I was biochemistry was a little bit easier for me in the aspect of drawing out things, and I could, visually remember the pathways, and so I realized, I could take that and take that to anatomy. So the cranial nerves were a lot easier if I would just draw it in an outline type of way that way too. So you'll figure it out, and the faster you figure it out is the easier the term will be. The one thing I took away from term 1 is that real life is more important than medical school. When you get there, you're going to be so surrounded by medicine. You're going to be around people who all they want to talk about is cranial nerves and biochemistry pathways and ATP, and so you're so surrounded by it. But you come to realize that being with your friends, being with your wife, your family, that's the most important thing. And how important it is to meet people on the island and make friends. Like myself, I was part of the CSA, so the Christian Student Academy, and I made friends on the island. And going through tough times like that, it was awesome just to talk to guys about things that had nothing to do with medical school. And that was important. That's what kept me grounded and kept me strong. And of course, my faith is what got me through this whole term. The number one thing to realize was that medical school is important, but it's not the most important thing.
So what did a day look like for you?
The busiest day for me was anatomy day. My lab would be at it would start at 7:40 in the morning. You have to be in full scrubs. The first thing you do when you get in there is you take 2 clicker tests, go through your small group discussions, which they would have usually about 5 case studies. You would have a doctor there that was with you, kind of like a round table. there's about 5-6 people in your group, and you go through a round table and they ask you questions like, okay, what is this, what cranial nerve would be affected and how would the patient present with these symptoms, and you'd have to answer. So yeah, I mean, that was fun. And then right after that, then we had a patient, mock patient come in, and we would have to go through a physical exam with them. So that was fun. So you do that for about 45 minutes, and then you take about a 15-minute break, and then go to your imaging. Imaging was really cool. They would have X-rays and MRIs on the screen. The doctor that is with you, they'll go through the imaging. You'll do that for about 15 minutes, and then you'll go to do ultrasound. Ultrasound was awesome. I've never done ultrasound before, just seeing everything that you're studying and in actual human being was awesome. So that was cool. And then you're done. You do that for about 20 minutes, and then you go into your cadaver lab. You're there for about an hour, and they have different stations with different pins that are set up with the different cadavers. So you go around, and then you take your quiz at the end. Then you have about an hour break, and then you have your 4 hours of lecture. So then you're done with that about 5, and then you have to make sure you study everything you studied. And as I'm saying this, I'm going to cry because I know I'm going back in a month. It's so difficult but so rewarding. It's so fun to think about, like, going through it, and it's difficult, but it's not, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's difficult, it's time consuming, and you get tired of it, but it's awesome. I wouldn't trade. My wife's saying I got to shut up now.
There's too much to talk.
There's so much to talk about.
There's so much we could talk about.
And I could talk all day about it, but at the end of the day, it's the best thing you're ever going to experience. It's the best thing I've ever experienced. If you're going there and you're leaving your wife behind or anything like that, I would say bring her or bring him, because I wish she was there first term, and I'm so excited she's going back with me. But if they can't, you can get through it. I got through it, we got through it, and we're probably a lot weirder than you guys. So if we got through it, you guys can definitely get through it.
If you have any kind of specific questions, go ahead and just ask them in the comment section, and we'll try to answer you back. Hopefully
anything.
It's something we can just write back and it's not really complicated.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, just ask.
I'll answer, or she'll answer.
Yeah.
We're going back in the beginning of August.
Yeah, if you see us, say hi.
And if you see us, say hi.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.